1 year ago today, a man firebombed a group of demonstrators in Boulder, Colorado, who had gathered in support of Israeli hostages still being held in Gaza. Authorities say the man yelled "Free Palestine" as he threw 2 Molotov cocktails toward the group. An 82-year-old woman named Karen Diamond died as a result of the injuries she suffered during that terrible assault, and at least a dozen other people were hurt. Last month, the attacker pleaded guilty to a slate of state charges and was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. During that court proceeding, an attendee of the event last year said this: "When I'm alone and close my eyes, I can vividly see Karen's body in flames." Karen's sons wrote in a letter, quote, "We learned the full meaning of the expression living in hell." Joining us now, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, good to see you. We sadly are making a habit of this, where you have been on the show commemorating the anniversary of a terrible incident of anti-Semitic violence, in this case death, this horrible firebombing. What are your thoughts a year later?
Look, I think the death of Karen Diamond, an 82-year-old grandmother, when she was, again, marching is a generous way of describing it, she was walking around a park. I mean, I literally went to Boulder the day after it happened. I saw where it happened. I stood there with Governor Polis. It's sad. An 82-year-old woman is not exactly a hardened political activist. And the idea of showing solidarity with people being held in tunnels and dungeons under the ground should not be controversial. Now, the truth is that this reflects the broader trend of anti-Semitism. As you said, Jonathan, we've been talking here on your show for years. We've seen the acts of violence increase. We've seen the anti-Jewish attitudes harden. And so I think it's a moment where many in our community are frankly worried in ways they haven't been in a long, long time.
For someone watching at home, whether they be Jewish or not, what would your advice be? Like, what is something that they could do, a small act that someone could do to try to bring the temperature down?
Look, first and foremost, I think so many of us have Jewish people in our lives as family, friends, coworkers, colleagues. Just reach out, send a text, give a call, say, just check in with people. Checking in really matters and helps. And I think Jewish people right now feel very alienated. They feel very alone. Like, to go to synagogue, you're going through a phalanx of armed guards. It's crazy. It's not normal. You should have to negotiate a police presence just to worship. So I simply think the act of checking in can go a long way.
So, Jonathan, obviously we've talked about this so much over the years, and so many people in our community feel just deeply pained about the current state, and we all know the statistics, and we feel the reality of this heightened tension. And yet there is also this sense that what's happened in Israel has made it so much harder for Jews in the diaspora around the world. My mother will often say nobody's done more to reinforce anti-Semitism than Netanyahu. It's such a difficult tension, especially against the background of the march yesterday, which was so joyous, the Israel Day parade. But there is this incredible tension among those of us, who really oppose the Netanyahu administration, so much of what's happened there, and then yet this just incredibly unacceptable surge in anti-Semitism. How do you reconcile those? How do you talk about those with people in ways that help, to Jonathan's point, bring the temperature down and reset?
It's a really good question, Lauren. I think it's on a lot of people's minds. I think the reality is that you can have strong feelings about the Netanyahu government, but obviously it doesn't excuse the man in Boulder who said, "I want to kill all Zionists," right? But I have strong feelings about Beijing and their policies toward minorities, but I wouldn't attack Chinese people. I'm not a fan of Vladimir Putin, but I would never think of vandalizing a Russian Orthodox church. Frankly, you may or may not like this current administration, but when I show up for a July 4th, event, as I will in a month, that doesn't mean I endorse President Trump anymore than I endorse Democrats. So I think only Jews are held to this double standard, where they are said, hey, wait a second. I want to understand, where do you show up on this geopolitical issue? And therefore, then I'll make a decision about how I feel about you as a person, as an American.
And it doesn't matter, because our Jewish identity supersedes whatever we may think politically.
So here's the thing, right? Karen Diamond, that man who said he wanted to kill all Zionists, he didn't ask her, what's your opinion about Bibi? He burned an 82-year-old woman alive.
Right.
Now, it's so interesting to build on something you said. I marched yesterday here in New York City for this Israel Day parade. There are more than 50,000 people marching, waving American flags, waving Israeli flags. There were religious people and secular people. There were left-wing people, I could tell, and there were right-wing people. Governor Hochul marched. Speaker Menon marched. Jesse Tisch marched. By the way, there were Jews and non-Jews who marched. So I think there's a way to celebrate who we are as a Jewish people and just honor that without saying I endorse this policy or this leader.
We don't have much time, but really quickly, to what do you ascribe the rise in, I hate to say this, a more accepting attitude by the public of Nazi symbols?
I know, Elise, you were just talking about Greenblatt in the last segment. It was unbelievable. I think we've seen anti-Semitism go from being mainstreamed to normalized, now institutionalized. And I think we need to draw a line and say it is not okay. So again, I wish the mayor had showed up yesterday like all of the mayors who previously have been in City Hall. He didn't. But I think we should call out people with Nazi symbols no matter what party they're for. You know, I think we should call out when Thomas Massey accused his opponent of being from Tel Aviv or taking orders from Tel Aviv. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, hate is hate, anti-Semitism is wrong, and I think trying to couch it or disguise in political language does a disservice to all of us.
Because you brought up the mayor, we should note that he said, you know, he disagrees with some of the policies of Israel. There were some far right representatives of the government there. He chose not to attend personally, but he did, as you noted, send the police commissioner in his stead. CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, thank you for being with us this morning.